everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen and I'm here today with another top 10 video. And for this one I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite comedy movies. And this was the hardest one so far to narrow down. I feel like I'm saying that for all of these videos, but I went a little cheating on this one because it was so difficult to just pick 10. So jumping right in with that, we are starting with an honorable mention, and it is basically any Jack Black movie because he's just a Jim, but most especially School of Rock. This was a childhood favorite for me. I was really into 80s rock as a kid, which was kind of unusual. That was a little bit before my time, and so this was a movie that I could really connect with. And it was also my mom's favorite comedy. Comedy was not always her top favorite genre, so this was one that me and her could bond over because comedy most definitely was my top favorite genre as a kid. But moving right along into the actual list, starting at number 10, we have Role Models. This is one of the first kind of more modern comedies in my mind on the list. A lot of the comedies on this list are from the early 2000s or before. The early 2000s was kind of my jam. Yeah, I just really love this one. It is about two guys who are forced to kind of become mentors for these kids, and they're maybe not the best guys to be role models, so it leads to all sorts of funny situations. And I really enjoyed the LARPing in this movie, a little bit of nerd connection there, even though I myself have never been a LARPer. Moving on, at number 9, I have Rat Race, which I feel is one that's probably not as well known. But this was one of my all-time favorites as a kid. This is one of the ones that I would watch over and over. I have many memories of trying to skip past the extremely long intro that it has. But once it gets past that intro, which in my older age I have grown to appreciate, it's just a really hilarious movie. It's got a big cast of all very funny actors. My personal favorite is it has Mr. Bean in, I think, his most hilarious role. And the concept is that a casino gets these group of people to go on a race to New Mexico to win a bunch of money, but secretly super rich people are betting on who is gonna win. So love a good movie with a lot of travel, keeps it fun and interesting, and the big cast of characters also keeps this one fun and interesting. Next on my list, number 8, is Joe Dirt, starring David Spade. And this one is a silly one, but I have always felt that it actually kind of has a lot of heart, weirdly. Other people may not see this, but it's just a guy kind of telling his life story on a radio show, and really it's a guy who's just been looking for home all of his life. And it's also really hilarious in a dumb comedy sort of way. Number 7 on my list is an older one. It is Smokey and the Bandit with Burt Reynolds and Sally Field. And this one is all the way back from the 80s, or maybe even late 70s. And fun fact, it was actually the highest grossing movie the year it came out, other than Star Wars. But it's got a pretty simple concept. This guy bets that he can go retrieve a bunch of beer for these other guys in like 72 hours or something. It's several states away, and at this time, you're not supposed to be taking alcohol across state lines. And so it becomes a hilarious chase movie, and the cop who is chasing the bandit is top comedian. He's played by Jackie Gleason. But this is my dad's favorite movie of all time, so I watched it a ton growing up, and I basically have the whole thing memorized. It's got lots of memorable lines. And so it's a real family movie for us. My nephew dressed up as a snowman for Halloween this year. It was super adorable. Next, I have 2 movies sharing the number 6 spot. They're both Melissa McCarthy movies, and that is The Heat and Spy. So starting with The Heat, I saw this movie with my best friend in theaters when it came out, and after the movie, We had the house to ourselves, and that is the first time that I ever drank and got drunk. And so I just remember spending much of the night impersonating Melissa McCarthy from The Heat. So I will always kind of associate this movie with that memory, and it was just a really fun night. And then the other movie is Spy, which I don't have a super fun memory associated with it, but again, it's just a really good Melissa McCarthy movie. I really liked her time of doing these action comedies. I felt she was so good at that very specific genre. I like her in other things, but that specifically is prime Melissa McCarthy for me. But also that action movie guy who doesn't really do comedy was in it, and he was actually like really hilarious in that movie. I don't remember his name. Jason Statham. Jason Statham was in it, and he was hilarious because he just played this like overly serious spy guy who thinks that he is just the cat's pajamas and is insane. Next, number 5 on my list, halfway through here, is Horrible Bosses, which of these kind of like newer era comedies on the list, Horrible Bosses is kind of the pinnacle for me. It is about these 3 friends, these 3 guys who all have horrible bosses, and they decide that they're going to kill their bosses. And once again, it's just a really great ensemble. Charlie Day, Jennifer Aniston, 6 of them in the main cast, and that they're all just great. Charlie's character is definitely my favorite character in the movie. The way he just screams things so dramatically is hilarious every time. And yeah, this is one that I could watch again and again. I probably haven't seen it as much as some of the other movies on the list because it hasn't been around since childhood, but if it had, I think it would have been a childhood classic for me. Next, number 4 on the list is Mean Girls. Yes, the kind of girly comedy classic. I think everyone knows about Mean Girls. It is iconic. It is probably the most iconic movie on this list. Obviously, it is so quotable, so good. It is the girliest movie that I have on this list. Yeah, it's just the pinnacle of the teen girl movie scene for me. Next, number 3 on the list is another tie featuring the same actor, and that is Jim Carrey, and the movies are Liar Liar and Bruce Almighty. Liar Liar is kind of one of the earliest movies I remember watching. It feels like it has been in my life the longest. And so obviously it is a classic for me. For a long time, Jim Carrey was my favorite actor, and that was based a lot on his performance in Liar Liar, which is a movie in which he cannot lie because his 5-year-old son has made a birthday wish. And just watching the shenanigans of him trying to say things without lying is hilarious. And then yeah, Bruce Almighty came along a few years later, and it was also so good. And so I felt it deserved to share this spot. Number 2 on my list is not so much a movie as an actor, the person who then took over my favorite actor spot for a long time after Jim Carrey, and that is Adam Sandler. I love Adam Sandler movies so much. The quality of his movies over the years have maybe gone downhill a little, but that kind of early 2000s Adam Sandler is just my favorite brand of comedy. Adam Sandler is also one of my dad's favorite actors, but he really likes 80s Adam. But yeah, for me, Little Nicky, 1999, all the way up through like maybe Click, which I'm not sure when that came out, maybe 2005 or something, is just like the golden era of Adam Sandler for me. And the 3 that really stand out are Little Nicky, Big Daddy, and 50 First Dates. Little Nicky is kind of a weird one. Adam plays the son of the devil, and his brothers have escaped to Earth, which has left his dad dying, and so Nicky is sent to Earth to go collect his brothers and bring them back to hell. So a little bit of a strange concept, but so hilarious. This was one that kind of focused a little more on the music aspect, which I really liked. Adam Sandler has great taste in music. He's also a fan of 80s rock. So all of his movies tend to have soundtracks that I vibe with, but this one especially. And then 50 First Dates is just such a cute, feel-good rom-com. I'm not super into romance movies, so that comedy aspect has to be there. Unlike, I can enjoy just straight up comedy movies, but straight up romance tends to not be my jam. So this one is just the perfect little rom-com for me. And then yeah, Big Daddy was kind of a favorite for a while there as well. Again, this was one that had a little bit of heart to it. I always enjoyed that it had Dylan and Cole Sprouse. And yeah, it was just smack dab in the middle of that golden era of Adam Sandler for me. And then finally, number 1 on my list is the Austin Powers series. I love all 3 of these movies equally. These were me and my best friend's favorite movies growing up. We would watch them almost every time she came over for quite a while there. We used to like play games along with the movies. Like there's this part where Austin does like this pantomiming that he's going down an elevator or down a escalator, and we would play charades while watching the movie with the mindset of, I don't know, we were doing that scene from the movie, I guess. We were weird children. Although obviously I didn't grow out of it since I then went on to impersonate Melissa McCarthy in The Heat one day. But yeah, I could just watch these over and over. There are 3 of them to enjoy, and they are all so good. Not super common for the sequels to be good. A lot of the movies on this list that I named have terrible sequels. And yeah, just absolute all-time fave. And I also have to give a little shout out to Shrek. I don't know if it'll be able to make the top 10 of animated movies list that I will be doing one day, and because it also has Mike Myers. So that was it for my top 10 favorite comedy movies with a few extras. Let me know down below some of your favorite comedies. I hope you enjoyed watching. And now on to the quote for today's video. And today I have kind of a funny one from Harry Potter, and it is said by Hermione Granger, and it goes, "Just because you've got the emotional range of a teaspoon doesn't mean we all have." Thanks for watching. Remember, words matter.